Hi guys, welcome to my second video. It's more of a learning summary video, which I'll be discussing pretty much what I've learned in the last 4 months in my political communication class. This class was extremely insightful. We had the joy of getting over 12 politicians to come into our class to present to us, and throughout the semester we would gather the data from each presentation and turning into a final report to answer a question that we decided was important to answer. So throughout the semester I learned a couple important things. The first one being how to code data. In the past, I had done some coding with HTML and that kind of stuff, but this kind of coding of just notes and words was something completely new to me and turned out to be quite interesting. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's an important tool to use in order to categorize important patterns to better understand how these people communicated to their population. We know that communication is key when it comes to politics, and fortunately with the coding I was able to kind of detect what kind of key elements they would use, either social media or door-to-door interaction or anything else for that matter that would help them get their message across. Secondly, I learned that the importance of a first impression in a presentation is key. Some politicians came in with a joke, had a nice little joke to open up the presentation, and had a nice way of speaking, and would really capture the room within the first 2 minutes, and you could tell right away that everyone was engaged. That presentation, whether it lasted 20 to 40 to 50 minutes, everyone was engaged, and I was more engaged in those presentations and took better notes. However, some speakers had less energy and were just more old school and not as comfortable in front of a classroom, which then made their presentation a lot slower, a lot less interesting. And I mean, for those speakers, I would have maybe 2 pages of notes. But for the other speakers that were interesting, I would have about 6 pages of notes. So the first couple minutes of a presentation is key, and that's something that I really realized. I knew it was important beforehand, but after seeing 12 politicians come into a class, I was really able to understand the importance of the first impression. Lastly, I think the last thing that's important to note was the feeling aspect of these presentations. Dr. Strangelove was pretty adamant on us using and talking about our feelings about the presentation, and the reality of the matter is that in politics, the feeling is important, and the way you feel about things is really important, because you're going to vote a bit more with your heart than with your facts. I mean, if you really build chemistry with the politician, you're going to tend to go by his side, even if his ideology might not be the best suited for you, because you built that relationship. So that goes into further understanding the relationship pattern into politics, which is incredibly important. And that's also why many politicians still do the old school door-to-door and the old school strategies of just meeting people in person instead of just using social media outlets to prevail their message. So with that being said, I think this class was extremely helpful. I'm happy I took it. It was a great 4 months. It went by really fast. It's hard to believe that it's almost over, and I'd like to really thank Professor Strangelove for this great opportunity.